Hey everyone, and welcome back to 3 Live. My name's Allie, and today I'm going to be talking to you all about Samarathon. So if you guys are not familiar with our Better Phone Friend campaign, we are proud partners of Samaritans.
We took part in Samarathon last year to get motivated because obviously last year we were in lockdown, so nobody really wanted to do anything. You've got all of July to do it, so it's giving you that push each day to do a little bit. I did it with my twirling team. My daughter's A12 for them. We've got 24 on our twirling team. They kept sending me these pictures showing me that they'd already finished, and I was like way behind them. This year that is not happening. I mean, I'm going to get my whole team to do it again this year. They're going to love it. Samaritans is run by donations. So without donations, we wouldn't be able to run our service. Any amount of money you can raise for Samaritans is just worthwhile. I've used Samaritans myself many, many years ago. It was frightening picking up that phone, but it was my lifeline. You know, our service is just vital for so many. I just love being there for the callers.
So now let's hear from Leonie, an amazing, long-standing Samaritans volunteer and now taking part in Samarathon. So hey Leonie, thank you so much for joining us. It's so lovely to have you on here, and obviously you are going to be running the Samarathon, and you have done in previous years, so I'm really excited to find out a bit more about your experiences. So tell me about your experience as a volunteer.
Well, I joined Samaritans nearly 10 years ago now. I joined as a listener, and I was really looking for something that would fit in with my 9-to-5 job, my family, my other commitments. And Samaritans just gives a lot of flexibility, and they're quite inclusive when it comes to opportunities to volunteer. So we're open 24/7 every day. So I fit it in the evenings and nights. Some people volunteer in the mornings or afternoons, so it seemed like a good organisation to get involved with. The more I learned about the organisation, the more I realised it fit in with my personal strengths. So I'm a good listener. I'm someone that my friends come to with all their problems, not really because I know the answers, just because I'm good at listening to them and I'm not judgmental. So that kind of fits in well with Samaritans.
Amazing. I think that's so important to note as well, like what you said, it's not about advice, and the more that I'm working on this campaign and the more I've found out about Samaritans in general as well, is that it's not an advice platform. So I think that's quite a common misconception, and it is all about listening. So as you said, if you're a great listener, then you are going to be you're going to be the friend that people come to. So yeah, I think that's such an important note that you've made there as well. So obviously the purpose of me speaking to you today is about Samarathon. So tell me a little bit about your experience with that, because I know you're a bit of a Samarathon pro now.
Well, you say that, but Samarathon is a little bit different to other kind of running challenges. It doesn't have to be a run or a jog of the Samarathon on one day. It's spread across the whole month. So you can run if you're an avid runner. I'm personally not. I'm not very sporty, but I love walking. So I walked 3 marathon distances actually over the month of July last year. Luckily, I live in Yorkshire. There's loads of routes and opportunities to climb hills and walk down the Pennine Trail, things like that. So it was really something that I enjoyed, and I'll be doing it again this year. Again, walking. I might fit in a little bit of a jog this year, seeing as though I'm a bit fitter.
That's amazing that you say that, because so you sitting speaking to me, you probably wouldn't know, and people probably wouldn't know at home. So I'm physically disabled, so I use a stick to walk, and I can't walk very far at all without it, really. So I think that's something that when we first kind of heard about Samarathon, I've seen it before. We've worked on this campaign, but they were looking for people to do it and like to sign up, and I kind of ruled myself out. I was kind of like, oh well, I'm not going to be able to do it. I can't run. But I think that's so lovely that what you're saying is, I mean, you've done massive amounts of running. I'm definitely not going to be able to do 3, I don't think, but that you do it walking. And I think there's people put so much pressure on themselves that when you have like a marathon, or there is like some kind of like a 10k, 5k, whatever it is that you're running, it's all about that running and getting it all done at once. But I think that is, as you said, that's what makes the marathon different, is that you can do it over that space of time. So even if it is just like a 10-minute walk on like your lunch break or something, you know, you're going to really rack up the steps and you're going to get the distance in, which I think is lovely. And it makes it a lot more inclusive for, obviously, as I said, for someone like me that maybe is a little bit less able, or maybe you just don't like running. I'm saying I'm not able to run. I've never been a runner. I'm not going to kid myself on. Before I became disabled, I was not a runner anyway, so I would just be telling a lie if I said I could have run it before. But yeah, I think, as you said, it's not about fitness. It's not about you being like the fastest runner or completing it in the shortest amount of time. I think it's about raising money for the amazing charity, and raising awareness, and so many different people can do it. It's really, really inclusive. So I think that's a lovely point that you made, that obviously it's not just running. I'm saying you're a Samarathon pro, but it doesn't mean you're like a marathon runner. It doesn't mean like that you've got the quickest times, you know. So I think that's a lovely thing as well. So if you guys do want to sign up for Samarathon, obviously that's what we were talking about. We're going to link it down below as well, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. Now the reason that we're talking all about Samarathon is that we are teamed up as a proud partner of Samaritans. That's so hard. Samaritans. We're a proud partner of Samaritans, and we have our Better Phone Friend campaign. So in terms of Better Phone Friends, as Leonie was saying, our amazing Samaritans volunteers are amazing phone listeners. They are listening volunteers, and as you said, it is all about listening. If you would like to find out more about the kind of listening types as well, they will be on our website on 3.co.uk/Better Phone Friends. But back to kind of Samarathon and your experiences. So this is probably for people that maybe aren't as aware about Samarathon. So there's loads of different reasons that people would choose to do it. So what was your specific reason? Like, why did you kind of like wake up and think, I want to do this? I know you were a volunteer before, so you're maybe a bit more of aware of it.
Yeah, I've been a volunteer, as I say, for nearly 10 years, but last year was actually my first Samarathon. Right. The reason that I chose to do it last year was because of the pandemic, really. I am a single household. I live by myself. I work from home 9 till 5. So I thought it'd be a good challenge to get myself outside. As you say, it didn't have to be climbing a mountain every day. It could just be walking around my local park on a lunchtime, or meeting up with a friend and walking down the canal on an evening. And so it was just to challenge myself to get out, even on days where I didn't really feel like it. I just thought, I want to achieve something small today. And it really kind of spurred me on to keep doing that every single day.
That's so good. Like, I think I've seen so many people out running and walking, and I think there's been a massive uptake of that over the pandemic, because as you said, if you're a single household, and even then, like, it doesn't really matter how many people are in your house, but I think having that kind of, well, however long it was you were away for, say it's an hour outdoors, or like even 10-15 minutes just to get outside and take a little break, and especially if you are on your own, like walking, running, it's so good for your mental health as well, because it does just give you like a little bit of breathing space. So I think that's probably a reason that a lot of people would do it for as well. And I imagine you maybe had a bit more motivation to do it because there was less of the other kind of distractions that life would normally bring. Like, I can often find myself making excuses for like going for a walk or whatever because I've got other things to do. But I think at that point you maybe didn't have as many other things to do, so probably a lot of people are in the same boat. So that was obviously your motivation last year. Is that kind of continued on this year just because you enjoyed it so much?
Yeah, that's right. I've always enjoyed walking, but I really liked that challenge in July last year. So I've continued with my walking since. As I said, I'm a little bit fitter. And as well as the physical challenge, it's good to open up conversations. I usually walk with someone or a small group. And it's amazing the things that you start talking about when you're walking like for half a day or for a few miles. It gets people opening up. When we're outside in like wider spaces, it feels a bit more free and open to share what you're struggling with or what your thoughts are at the time. So that's been quite a motivation again to connect with people.
Yeah, I think that's such an important note as well, because like I know for me, kind of communicating with people, it's been mostly virtual. Obviously this is virtual, but I think a lot of the time the only place I was ever seeing another person was outside because of restrictions. So as you said, it does make people maybe a bit more, they feel a bit more able to open up, and they maybe share things that they wouldn't over the phone or virtually as well, which is lovely. And while doing Samarathon, obviously I imagine you had, if it's over that period of time, there's obviously a lot of different experiences you've had with it. So what would you say are kind of like the positives you've taken from it, or like the best parts of it?
The best parts were seeing myself progress. So at the beginning, I walked around kind of my park or around a small reservoir. And by the end of the month, I was physically fitter, so I could tackle larger challenges. In Yorkshire, we've got massive hills. So yeah, I was grumbling and moaning all the way up. But being at the summit of a big hill and just looking down and seeing what you've achieved, it really helps with your self-confidence and your self-esteem, I think, to challenge yourself and meet those goals head on. So I think that was a high, being at the top of that massive hill. Another positive experience was I had a bit of an injury for 1 week last year, and I was feeling a little bit down about it. I thought I'm not going to make my miles. But I connected with other people that were taking on Samarathon through a Facebook group. And they all kind of encouraged me, shared some tips on how to recover, and that spurred me on. And that again made me feel part of a small community, all taking on the same challenge. So that was a positive, I would say.
That's lovely that you say that as well, because I think it's a massive part, especially obviously if you're living on your own. I was really lucky that I lived with someone kind of during the kind of worst of the lockdowns. But I think having that sense of community, it's massive during Samarathon. Like we have obviously loads of people that I work with are doing it as well, and I think it really is a massive sense of community because it's a project rather than just like one day, and it maybe doesn't need as much training as other things. So it is more, you could do it as more of a group if you wanted to as well. And when you were saying about like getting to kind of like the top of the mountain or the cliff or wherever, Yorkshire's beautiful. Like I think Scotland's so nice for that as well. Like I'm from Glasgow, and as much as I live in the city, we are very close to like some amazing hills and really lovely views, so it's really not a chore to find somewhere really nice to be able to walk as well. But as you said, like tasks can seem so difficult, like when you are at the bottom, and then when you get to the top, it's such like it's such a sense of accomplishment, and you feel so proud as well that you've been able to get up there and maybe do tasks that you didn't think you'd be able to do, or it seemed like much more of a challenge, especially obviously if you've injured yourself as well. So well done you. I think you've done an incredible job, and you've actually inspired me a lot more, because before coming on to speak to you, I was kind of like, oh, well, I'm feeling a bit anxious about it, but it's definitely something that I'm feeling a bit more motivated about as well, and I'm sure loads of other people watching this that are maybe like kind of to and fro and can't decide if it's for them will be really inspired by your story as well.
Yeah,
So,
as you said, as you said, it's a personal challenge. So people with different abilities, or people that maybe have small kids to look after, or other responsibilities, you just do what you can. It might just be walking up and down your street or around a park or something local. I think that the point of the challenge is just to be really as inclusive as possible. So I'm glad that you're thinking about taking it on now.
Yeah, I mean, at the start, honestly, when I was like, a marathon, oh, I'm never going to be able to do that. But as you said, like, it's really inclusive, and I think that's what makes it so different as well, that it's not, you have to do it all in one day, you don't even have to do it all in 1 week. So it's really something that you can build up your strength, and as you said as well, you'll notice such a difference, and that's so motivating to see, like within like a couple of weeks, or like you maybe walk the same route twice and you notice like the second time you're doing it quicker, or it's feeling easier or something. So I think that's been really lovely and definitely really inspiring for me, and I'm not motivated to run or walk anywhere very easily. So yeah, I think you've really kind of opened my eyes to maybe some of the challenges that I was, the kind of blockers for me, that I was like, oh, maybe that's going to be an issue. But as you said, obviously it's really inclusive, and I think we can all make the time for it as well. So as you said, you maybe be a busy parent or super busy with work, or just not motivated to do it, but you can always find that time to kind of get those steps in and rack up those miles. So thank you so much for talking to us, Leonie. It's been so lovely to speak to you, and best of luck with your Samarathon this year. I'm sure you'll do so well. You've done amazingly well last year, so it can only go up from there. But thank you so much for coming on to speak to us, and thank you. I mean, a volunteer for 10 years, that's amazing as well. I think obviously we've spoken a lot about Samarathon, but being a Samaritans volunteer for 10 years is fantastic. So thank you so much for the work you do, and if you guys do want to find out more about our Better Phone Friend campaign with Samaritans, it's 3.co.uk/betterphonefriends. If you want to find out more about Samarathon and maybe take part, then we will be linking that down below as well. So definitely do keep us up to date with your journey. I can't wait to see how well you do, and maybe if I take part as well, then I'll share my journey with you too. But thank you so much for coming on and inspiring me, and as I'm sure many others.
Great, thanks for having me.
So I absolutely loved getting the chance to speak to Leonie and find out a bit more about her experiences with Samaritans and being a volunteer, and also now with Samarathon as well. I was really inspired to take part myself and kind of push myself, challenge myself, and do a little bit more than what I usually would to raise some money for Samaritans. If that sounds like something you would also like to take part in, you can go over to samarathon.samaritans.org and sign up yourself as well. If you want to hear a little bit more about some other fantastic stories from Samaritans volunteers, we also have a video with Rob and Bavisha over on our YouTube channel 3UK, and you can go and watch those, find out a little bit more maybe about what kind of listener type you are, and a bit more about Samaritans in general, about volunteering, calling, and the kind of help that they provide. If you want to find out more about our campaign, Better Phone Friend, you can go on to our campaign page, which is linked down below. If you would like to contact Samaritans in any way, you can call 116 123 at any hour of the day, and we'll also link some other ways that you can get in touch. Thanks so much for watching. My name's Allie. Until the next time, I hope you all stay safe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.